A guy loses his watch while diving, just an accident. But that one little mistake ends up uncovering a secret that completely changes his life. And I'm not exaggerating. Just keep watching. When he goes back down to look for his watch, he stumbles upon this weird-looking rock. With years of treasure hunting experience under his belt, he immediately recognizes it as ballast stone from an old ship. And wherever you find that kind of stone, there's usually a sunken treasure ship loaded with gold and valuables nearby. He rushes back up to the surface and tells his 3 buddies the good news right away. They're all fired up and ready to go. Grab some mops and brooms and dive down to start searching. Before long, Nick makes a find. After digging it out of the sand, he realizes it's a gold dagger from hundreds of years ago. A treasure like that means whatever's down there is huge. Nick can't stop grinning. If they can find the actual shipwreck, they're set for life. To speed things up, they head into town and buy a bunch of detecting gear, then head right back out to the spot. They mark off a search area with ropes and start sweeping with metal detectors. The detector goes off right away. Nick signals one of the guys to use a blower to clear away the top layer of sand. As the sand blows away, the shape of an old Italian cannon from centuries ago is revealed. They tie ropes around both ends, attach airbags, and pump them full of air. With the 2 of them lifting together, the massive thing starts to rise. But just as they're about to haul it onto the boat, Lisa, who's keeping watch on deck, hears an alarm. It's the Coast Guard doing a routine check. The 3 underwater guys freak out. They know that if they bring the cannon up, the whole wreck site will be exposed, and the authorities will probably take over. They'd end up with nothing. Nick signals Anton to let some air out of the bags to keep the cannon stable underwater. But Anton accidentally lets all the air out at once. The cannon drops like a rock, and Anton's arm gets tangled in the rope. He gets dragged straight down. On impact, the cannon pins his arm. Worse, their oxygen tanks are almost empty. The 3 of them have to take turns breathing from the last bit of air they have. Nick and his girlfriend try to lift the cannon off Anton, but it's way too heavy. They're running out of time. Nick makes a desperate move. He takes off his own oxygen tank, empties the rest of the air into the airbags, and with his girlfriend's help, they manage to lift the cannon just enough for Anton to pull his arm free. When they finally surface, the Coast Guard is gone. But even after that close call, nobody wants to quit. That cannon proves there's probably a treasure-laden wreck down there. The next day, they expand the search. They're determined to pull up every antique they can find. But then they come across a bunch of metal debris. Following the trail, they find a crashed plane not far away. Nick can't believe his eyes. He surfaces immediately to tell the others. They all go down to check it out. But when they swim inside the cabin, what they see leaves them completely stunned. Inside the cabin, there were tens of thousands of packets of flour. Obviously, this plane was being used by drug traffickers to transport narcotics. It just happened to crash in this area by some freak accident. Nick panicked when he saw it, but Anton was strangely excited. He even wanted to take a bag back to sell. Nick, however, thought that if the cops ever found that stuff on them, they'd be looking at serious prison time. He wanted nothing to do with that kind of dirty money. So he took out his knife, sliced open one of the bags, and dumped it all into the sea. Later back at home, Nick's girlfriend suggested they call the police, but the others immediately shot that down. If they reported it, the whole area would be cordoned off by the authorities, and all those priceless treasures at the bottom would be confiscated. So they proposed that they salvage the treasure first, and then report the plane afterward. Everyone thought that was a solid plan and agreed. Everyone except Lisa, who was already cooking up some shady ideas of her own.